Hello! So you want to tame yourself a golem? Let's jump into how to do that. Tame a golem, you're of course going to have to locate a golem. You also need cannons, cannonballs. You could use rocket launchers, but it takes a lot to do that. And you're more likely to kill the golem than to actually tame it. So anyway, you'll need cannons, cannonballs. Right, you'll need 5 dino gates, 7 pillars, 3 ceilings, and 2 foundations. The number of cannonballs will depend on the level of the golem. You also need something to tame it with, either kibble or sulfur. Of course, the other thing you're going to need is a dinosaur to ride around on to bait the golem back to your trap once your trap is built. Right, so this is the golem trap we'll be using today, and I'll show you another trap you can use, especially if you have the Frontier pack. You may have a pull-behind cart that you would like to use, which would probably be more of a pain, but anyway. We'll show you another trap that also works, but this is my favorite, and it's never failed me. Alright, so of course you need to locate a golem before you build a trap, because you don't want to build a trap and then the golem's a mile away and you have to drag it all the way to the trap, which you could. Now, you may be wondering where golems spawn at, so we'll go ahead and show you a spawn location where golems are, and they're pretty much going to be everywhere except the dunes. You can run into them almost anywhere. One of the places that I run into them more often, though, I'll go ahead and show you here, is going to be near 5827, just past the red obby in this little canyon area here. Kind of give you a slow view so you can see it. There's this little flat pit down here with all kinds of pathways right to it. And of course those pillars right there where sometimes drops the land. And there's a bridge right over there, a really long bridge. And of course the blue obby and the blue obby cave is up on that hill there. So this is kind of between red obby and blue obby. There will be golems will spawn up there, over there. And then a lot on this canyon here on my left will spawn all the way up in there. And so you can just kind of guide them out of there and down to your trap. So this makes a great location for a golem trap. Alright, there are several methods for building a golem trap. I have my favorite one. So I'll show both methods though, so you can decide which one you want to use. My favorite one takes a few more resources, but it works much better in my opinion. Alright, and since structures and everything are different sizes than they were in Survival Evolved, I'm going to go ahead and give you an idea how this is going to work. So we have the golem here. Alright, and then we need to figure out what size he is so we can build this trap correctly. So as you can see, the golem is about as wide as a dino gate. Okay, so that rock might be in the way, so we'll go ahead and set it up here. So place this down. We'll place our first dino gate down. Right, and then we're going to put right in front of it, I'm going to drop 2 pillars. Right, so the problem with the snapping is if we snap them like this, the golem's not going to be able to fit in there, even though it's wide as a dino gate. That makes those are not quite as wide. At least that's the way it was in Evolved. Let's just double check that. And yeah, sure enough, he can't get in. So we're not going to be able to use snapping. Alright, so when we're building this, we don't want to be snapping. Okay, so we want to make sure there's some distance here. Make sure it's not angled like this or something. Alright, we want to try and keep it as straight as possible. And we don't want it angled out either. Okay, so the golem's big. We just don't want them walking around our dino gates and getting out, so we'll put 2 here, like this. Okay, so you can't get through there, that's fine. And there's enough. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. We'll leave just a little bit of space. They don't need to be lined up with a dino gate like this. This doesn't have to be perfect. Alright, it just needs to be enough room for a golem to get in and not be able to get out. Okay, you don't want to be able to go through there. The important thing is once he's in here, he'll be trapped, he'll be stuck. Okay, so we got those down. And so I kind of messed up. That dino gate's kind of going at an angle, but I think yeah, so I messed that up. So you want to really watch the angles your gates are going at. Alright, so you see the golem can fit right in here, but just fits. Right, so this is, so we still need to add on to the trap, because we don't want the golem going around the trap. The wild golem may walk around it if it just barely fits. Alright, so in order to that, we need 2 more dino gates, and we need to angle them like this. And they don't have to be right up against those either. They can kind of be like this, so that we get a wider opening. Again, this doesn't have to be perfect. This isn't some elaborate trap. This is a very simple trap. It just needs to be angled out. and not and make sure there's a gap isn't big enough for the golem to walk out. Alright, and that should pretty much do it. Should guide the golem right in. Alright, so with the foundation here, as you can see, this is about 5 foundation spaces away. You just eyeball it and place it. That's fine. Again, we don't have to be super meticulous here, but if you run to be, we could always start at the pillar and build 5 foundations away. Alright, so get as close as you can, since it won't let me snap this pillar. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is where we put our cannon. And then, of course, you would need to get rid of the other foundations. Right, and then we place our cannon here. Now, like this, and then we would be able to shoot the golem in the head. Right, so now that we got the cannon and everything else lined up, you can see we're going to have an issue with the dino gate that's here that we started with. Right, the dino gate is really just a measuring tool. I prefer to measure with the tool. If you don't want to use a dino gate for measuring, you want to use less resources or something. You could always just use foundations. You can pick your middle point with your pillar and start there, and then you can use foundations out. So you can see 1 foundation over from the pillar, and 1 foundation that way from the pillar, and then a little bit of space, and a little bit of space, and there you go. But we were just using that for measuring purposes. Alright, and now for the next trick of this taming method. Alright, so you won't want him to be able to throw stones and breaking the cannon. Alright, one thing you can do is you place a foundation behind the cannon in a box. You can get on the box, and then you can kind of aim the cannon using these 2 little things on top here. So as you can see, we need to aim up. Okay, you can kind of see we're going to shoot him in the crotch. Aim up. That's going to shoot him in the chest. Aim up a 3rd time. That should hit the golem in the head. And then you'll just have to change it left and right depending on how the golem is moving. So there, that will be a direct headshot where that golem's standing now, but the golem that'll be in here will be swinging and fighting, and yeah, so we'll have to adjust left and right as that happens. That should be high enough. We can probably go 1 higher. Let's go up 4 high. Yeah, that should definitely hit him in the head with because they lob, so it drops a little bit. Shouldn't drop at that distance, but you know, it's art. Okay. Okay, and so now we need to build the shield for the cannon so it doesn't get hit by rock throws, and we can still shoot. There are a couple of things we can do. We could build around the cannon to keep the rocks from hitting the cannon, but it limits the ability of the cannon to shoot from different directions. So if the golem gets kind of turned around in there, we would lose our ability to shoot the golem from a different angle if we build too close to the cannon. Alright, but the easiest way to stop the golem from throwing rocks at our cannon and still giving us the ability to shoot however we need to, we can just come up to our dino gate here and come right about to the edge there and go up 4 pillars. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we come over with 3 ceilings. Alright, if you can't, the ceiling should snap to the top like that. Just may have to back up a little bit. 1, 2, 3 ceilings. Do 4 just to be safe, if it lets you. But I think it did because I have the dino gate there and it's somehow providing support. Otherwise, it'd probably only let you go out 3. Now, of course, you may want to put a storage box or something to put all the cannonballs in. I don't know if you have the one you're standing on top, you could use that too. Just something nearby to grab the cannonballs out of. Right, but I've already located the golem before we built the trap, so we got our golem right here. And if we pull out spyglass, you can spy them and you can see their level. So as you see, this elemental is 150. So we'll be grabbing that guy. And you can kind of see what they look like. They look a little different. They don't stand out nearly as much as they did in Evolved. In Evolved, they were bright yellow rocks. In this, they kind of blend in. So then what you're going to do is you're going to aggro it. You can use a land dino, flyer, whatever you want. It's easier with a flyer, but yeah, you'll get aggroed and you'll get to chase you. In a flyer, you want to stay just ahead of it where it can't punch you. But not so far that it starts throwing rocks at you. And you just kind of got it all the way to your trap. And so we'll just kind of turn him. You'll need to bring him straight onto your trap though. So we kind of built the flares out to make it a little easier. You can build those flares out even more with more dino gates if you really wanted. That way, if you're having a hard time bringing them straight in. Okay, Golem, come on. Keep up. They walk kind of slow, so make sure you have a decent amount of health on your whatever dino you're using though. So you do get hit. It's not too big of a deal. But come on. He's also more likely to throw rocks at land dinos than at air dinos when you're kiting them like this. The RG is just the easiest to use. Alright, we'll get him in our trap here. Alright, and now I should aggro onto that pillar, or he might just stand there either way. He's in our trap now. A level 150 golem should take about 12 cannonballs or 54 rockets if you're using a rocket launcher. If you have to hit him in the head with a rocket launcher or you'll kill him. Even then you may still kill him. As you see, our ceilings are blocking his rocks. And now, this is the reason we did 5 foundations out. If I go any farther back, he'll unaggro. And sometimes go into the ground, which we don't want happening while we're shooting at him. And of course, if he unaggros, he may turn around as well. So if that happens, trying to get his aggro back. Keep him facing the cannon. Oh no! No, 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 don't get smart. Hey, hey bud. Hey bud. Woo! Okay. And yeah, that's another thing. If your cannon's too far, he may do that. So you may have to stand closer to the front of the cannon. Keep that from happening. Okay. Load your cannonball in. Then fire. Headshot. Now wait. Okay, there we go. Load your next ball. Make sure he's not doing an attack. Yeah. Once he's finished his attack, you can fire the next shot. Sometimes he'll do a double attack and spin, so watch for that. It's 2. And make sure watch your cannonball. Make sure it's hitting him in the head. So we're still hitting him in the head, but we're almost hitting him in the shoulder. And that should give us a little bit more center headshot. Oh, no, that one was way too far to the right. This cannon does big turns, so we'll go back to the left. Because that one... You want to hit them as close to the center of the head as possible so you're not doing splash damage to the shoulder or anything like that, because they take a lot of damage. There we go. This trap's pretty easy like this. Yeah, if you really wanted and you had a buddy, you could, if you wanted, you could park your RG like right here. And then you could run around and drop dino gates behind him so he can't get out. That's kind of dangerous to do. And of course, when you're doing this, make sure to set up beds or sleeping bags nearby. And don't fire the cannon as fast as you can. You may end up missing, or he may be in a halfway in an animation or something. Just give it a second between shots. Give it a second between shots so you don't end up doing damage to him instead of torpor. Alright, and there we go. The golem is down. Now we can tame him. How long does it take to tame a golem? Depends on what you use. Alright, to tame a golem, you'll need about 35 extraordinary kibble, and it'll take about 25 minutes to tame. You could need up to 40 narcotics if it starts to wake up. If you're going to sulfur tame it, you're going to need 553 sulfur, and about 8.5 hours to tame it. It could also require up to 700 narcotics. Right, if you're going to use clay, it's 921 clay in 14 hours and 1,100 narcotics. If you're going to use stone, it's 1974, so basically 2,000 stone. It's going to take 2 days, 11 hours, and 52 minutes. So basically 3 days. And it's going to take about 5,000 narcotics. So you definitely don't want to do these guys with stone. Alright, so real quick, we're going to show you the other trap that lots of players like to use just because it's cheaper. So you start with a pillar, go up 2, and then come to the side. Well, enough that the golem can't walk through it, and go up 4. 3, 4. Come to the other side. And again, 4. 4. Okay. Alright, this is the trap. It's simple. I don't like it. It's too easy for things to go wrong, but just in case you do want to use this trap, you have a mobile cannon or something. It could be a reason to use that, something like that. Same thing. You got the golem over to it. Try and got the golem straight at it. Alright, and then the golem should aggro and fight the, it should stay right there. Alright, but yeah, that's the problem with this trap. It does allow him to throw rocks, but he's supposed to fight the pillars. If we get far enough back, he might. Okay, so he's de-aggroed us and he's fighting the pillars like he's supposed to. So now we'll come up behind the cannon. I'm gonna crouch down. Nope. Yeah, and he gets rid of the cannon. This is why I don't like this trap. You can technically, we'll put the cannon farther back and see. That's right. So theoretically, he should stay fighting the pillars, and he shouldn't go to sleep like we saw earlier, but he probably will. And as you can see, another issue with this is he's already starting to walk around the pillars, and he's coming over to us. So it's just not an ideal situation. That's why I don't like using that trap. You're welcome to use it if you want. It just doesn't work out very well. So if you have a team of people that can go out and tame a golem with you, well, let's say at least 2 people, right? One person carries a foundation, a cannon, and 12 cannonballs. Then you can do this without a trap. The other person on a flyer. And I'll show you both parts. I'll show you how to do the RG part first, and then we'll show you how to kind of do the cannon part. So if you're on a flyer, it could be a pterodon, it could be an RG, it could be whatever. Alright, so the idea is to aggro the golem. And then get right out of the golem's reach. And then just hover. Alright, and the golem will just do this. It will just stare at you. Alright, the other player can now shoot the golem in the head with a cannon with no issues. I say no issues, I mean other wild dinos might come up and mess with you, but for the most part the golem shouldn't unaggro. It should just stay aggro to your flyer. So as long as your flyer doesn't run out of stamina, and you don't accidentally bump a movement button, you should be good to go. And with this method, you don't have to lose the cannon or leave the cannon in place, or even junk out the place with a whole lot of structures. Alright, so let's say I have a buddy and has a golem aggroed in front of me with an RG. We're going to drop a foundation, and then we'll drop a cannon on top of that foundation, and then we need to aim real fast. It's going to be 1, most likely 2 ups, as long as we were already had to place it pretty quick. Then we put a cannon in, fire it. As long as we've done that in under 30 seconds, we can pick the cannon back up and then place it for the next shot. And this way, if you're early game and you don't have a whole lot of resources to throw away on making cannons, you can constantly reuse the same cannon and leave with it. And then when you're done, you can just destroy the foundation. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button. Have an awesome day.